Namaste. So now let us cover out the decision, the very important decision of the Supreme Court, in which they have declared that they have the power to grant a divorce under Article 142. So the case name therefore becomes important: Shilpa Shailesh versus Varun Srinivasan. This judgment, if you are taking the CLAT PG 2023 and successive years, of course, but specifically for 2023, is extremely high probability. So please take notes. And ये PDF, of course, the highlighted judgment I will attach with the lecture so that it becomes easy for you to download and just go through it. ठीक है जी. Shilpa Shailesh versus Varun Srinivasan is the case name. We will now scan out the judgment. So the issues before this constitution bench, they primarily arose in Niti Malviya versus Rakesh Malviya. I don't think that a question can be asked from here. However, we'll still just mark it out, all right? Wherein a bench of two judges had doubted the views expressed in Anjana Kishore versus Puneet Kishore and Manish Goyal versus Rohini Goyal. These are important. So an MCQ can be framed that this court in exercise of power under Article 142 of the Constitution of India cannot reduce or waive the period of 6 months for moving the second motion as stipulated in subsection 2 to section 13B of the Hindu Marriage Act 1956. At this point, I would advise you, so I am going to go through section 13B in the lecture itself. However, it will be prudent if you take a pause right now and go through section 13B of the Hindu Marriage Act. And section 13B का main जो topic है, that is it divorce by mutual consent, whatever it is, you take a note in your notes. There is section 13B in the lecture going forward. However, I would suggest that you go through the section just once on my request. All right. Now इनके ऊपर अंजना किशोर versus पुनीत किशोर and Manish Goyal versus रोहिणी गोयल का main जो decision ये है that this court refers to the Supreme Court under Article 142. Acha, you can also open your Constitution Ki Bear Act and go through Article 142. Article 141 contains the doctrine of stare decisis. Article 142 will be in Part 5, the Union, and Chapter 4, the Union Judiciary, starting from Article 124. Go through Article 142 because it will really help you in understanding the lecture. All right. Now, Hindu Marriage Act 956 and 13B. Now, the question for these two judgments, of course, is whether, well, the Supreme Court, or rather the decision for these two judgments, the Supreme Court cannot reduce or waive the period of 6 months, all right, for moving the second motion. Understood? तो ये पूछ सकता है आपसे कि कौन से केस में ये वाली चीज अनाउंस हुई थी, all right? Now, therefore, since, well, we had a doubt on these decisions, so we framed a question for a three-judge bench for a clear ruling whether the period prescribed in subsection 2 of 13B of the Hindu Marriage Act can be waived or reduced by this court in exercise. So they wanted to have a clarity on this because it just didn't seem right. Another MCQ is, what is the period? What is the cooling off period? So that is 6 months. We will go in for that and basically go through the section again. ठीक है जी. Now it goes into detailing that फिर भी वो decide नहीं हुआ and all that. There are no MCQs to be scanned out from that. Then the Attorney General requested the court to answer the following questions, and well, this judgment answers those questions, all right? So it says, in view of the decision of the Honorable Court in the above case, the view of the Honorable Court that divorce can be granted on the ground of irretrievable breakdown of marriage, even the absence of such ground being contemplated by the legislature may require consideration by the Constitution bench, and that is the sole purpose of this judgment. All right. So this is the length and breadth of the case. We need not enter into it because that is not required for our specific exam. Now we start writing down judgments. All right. Now in paragraph 5 it says Pradeep Chandra Parija and others versus Pramod Chandra Patnaik and others accepted the submission made by the Attorney General to refer the questions formulated in transfer petition for consideration of the Constitution bench. So just low probability. However, I still just want you to mark this. खैर आपके पास download तो है ही PDF का, तो this is already marked out for you because जब ये question exam में आएंगे कि in which judgment were these questions referred, तो वैसी वाली चीज़ है. However, it is humanly not possible to remember all of these judgments, so therefore the ones that I've pointed you out, क्योंकि ऐसे तो बहुत सारे questions अलग-अलग judgments में उठते ही रहते हैं. However, the ones that I pointed you to, Manish Goyal और एक और वाला था, Manish Goyal के साथ साथ एक और था ना, अंजना किशोर वर्सेस पुनीत किशोर, ये मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट है एंड जजमेंट का नाम इस टाइम पे मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट है. ओके, आगे चलते हैं. So it says the following substantial question of law arises: the scope and ambit of power under Article 142. Hopefully you've read that, all right? And now you need to remember certain few things, all right? Protection of Women from Domestic Violence Act 2005. इसका ईयर पूछ लेते होते हैं. So this becomes one relevant MCQ. Section 125 of the Code of Criminal Procedure. What does this contain? ये open CRPC and go through section 125 of the CRPC once, and maintenance to who all? The wife only, the parents, or the kids? That is the MCQ from section 125. And always remember section 125 of the CRPC, just generally also. Or criminal prosecution primarily under section 498A. 498A is for domestic violence. ये कृपया करके section 498A of the IPC खोलिए and just go through the section just once. No need to rote learn the section. Alright. Because whatever this judgment is pointing to, we are trying to pick it apart to dissect the MCQs that they can ask. Alright. The third issue, which is of considerable importance, whether this court can grant divorce and exercise of power under Article 142, Clause 1 of the Constitution of India when there is complete and irretrievable breakdown of marriage in spite of the other spouse opposing the prayer. If the other party is opposing the prayer, can still the Supreme Court, under its power to do complete justice, even though the relief is not being prayed for by both the parties, can the Supreme Court grant this relief to you? Alright, आगे चलते हैं. Now we are into Article 142, enforcement of decrees and orders. The Supreme Court, in the exercise of its jurisdiction, may pass such decree or may make such order as is necessary for doing complete justice. So if they ask you where is the power to do complete justice given, that's Article 142. Alright. So passed or orders so made shall be enforceable throughout the territory of India. Alright. That's just about it. I believe no more MCQs from this page. We are on page number 7 of 61. Okay. Now we go to more MCQs, of course. It says the provision apparently unique as it does not have any counterpart in most of the major written constitutions of the world. However, there is a citation here. If there is a citation, well, let's check this. The constitutions of Bangladesh and Nepal have provisions similar to Article 142 of the Constitution of India, suggesting that they have drawn inspiration from Article 142 of the Constitution of India. This is an MCQ. Which of the following constitutions have a provision similar to Article 142? अब होगा क्या? Let us say that they asked this in 2023 and फिर अगली बारी वो सारे की सारी दुनिया बताएगी देखो सारे रिटन कॉन्स्टिट्यूशंस को भी रिवाइज कर लो अगर कोई सिमिलर प्रोविजन. ऐसा नहीं है. ये क्वेश्चन यहाँ से फ्लो आउट हो रहा है बिकॉज दिस हैज बीन मेंशन्ड इन दिस स्पेसिफिक जजमेंट. ऑलराइट. सो बांग्लादेश एंड नेपाल का नाम याद रखना है. सो इवन दो आर्टिकल 142 की सिमिलर पैरेलल प्रोविजन रिटन कॉन्स्टिट्यूशंस में नहीं है, बांग्लादेश और नेपाल के पास ये ऐसा कुछ है और चाहे किसी और के पास हो या ना हो. However, in this judgment we are being referred here. So, well, this becomes a standard set MCQ for the examiner to ask you. Alright. ठीक है जी. Then, अच्छा, कह रहा है and is inspired. So, Article 142 is inspired from justice, equity and good conscience. So, they can ask you, of course, Article 142 is based on, well, justice, equity and good conscience. Alright. Then we go आगे. It says, interpreting 142 of the Constitution of India, and M. Siddique dead through legal representatives Ram Janmabhoomi temple case versus Mahant Suresh Das and others. तो इन्होंने आंसर ऑलरेडी दे दिया. सो रिवाइज द केस नेम, दैट इज मोहम्मद सिद्दीक वर्सेस महंत सुरेश दास. ये कौन सा केस है? दिस इज द राम जन्मभूमि टेम्पल केस, क्योंकि इसी के अंदर पावर टू डू कंप्लीट जस्टिस के तहत द सुप्रीम कोर्ट गेव दी आपकी जो द जमीन फॉर द मस्जिद इवन दो इट वाज नॉट प्रेड फॉर एट एन ऑल्टरनेटिव साइड. ऑलराइट. So this case law, of course, is standard. It becomes, well, it is absolutely crucial since day one. Ram Janmabhoomi case का case name, all right. So that is Mohammad Siddique versus Mahant Suresh Das. All right. Bangladesh, Nepal हमने cover out कर लिया है. Okay. Now it says words in the above quotation, so it is quoting from the Ram Janmabhoomi wala case. The equitable power under Article 142 of the Constitution of India brings to fore the intersection between general and specific laws should be read as a reference to the classification of equity by Professor C.K. Allen. This becomes an extremely important MCQ. प्रोफेसर सी के एलन के बारे में पूछ रहे हैं. सी के एलन को जरा नीचे साइटेशन देखते हैं. सी के एलन, इट सेज, किताब का नाम है लॉ इन द मेकिंग. दिस बिकम्स एक्सट्रीमली इंपॉर्टेंट. मार्क इट आउट. ऑलराइट, क्योंकि प्रोफेसर सी के एलन का नाम पूछ सकते हैं, उनकी किताब का नाम पूछ सकते हैं. हु क्लासिफाइड इक्विटी इन टू प्रिंसिपल फॉर्म्स, एंड ये भी पूछ सकते हैं हाउ हैज प्रोफेसर सी के एलन क्लासिफाइड इक्विटी एज. So a liberal and humane interpretation of law in general, so far as that is possible without actual antagonism to the law itself, called equity in general. So the first point is equity in general, and secondly is a liberal and humane modification of the law in exceptional cases, not coming within the ambit of general rule, called particular equity. So how has C.K. Allen in his kitab, that is Law in the Making, has classified equity as particular equity and आपका equity in general. ये चीजें याद रखिएगा because CLAT PG is very very fond of, well, बाहर के legal scholars doing the work. Alright, आगे चलते हैं. Then it goes to cause of matter in 142. I don't think we need to do that. This is the reason that it has been held that 142 of the Constitution of India turns the maxim equity follows the law on its head, as this article in the Constitution of India gives legal authority to this court to give precedence to equity over law. So they can ask you, Article 142, well, turns the maxim equity follows the law on its head. कहाँ से, मतलब which maxim does it turn it on its head? That is, equity follows the law. Alright, so Article 142 gives precedence to equity over law. Which of the following articles gives precedence to equity over law? Article 142 clause 1. Extremely crucial MCQ. Alright, आगे चलते हैं. Then standard constitutional history we've done in the Keshwanand Bharti wala case also. IC Golaknath and others was state of Punjab and others. Chief Justice K. Subba Rao. ये भी पूछ सकते हैं, who was Chief Justice in IC Golaknath when IC Golaknath was, the decision was there. While invoking the doctrine of prospective overruling, this is very very standard. The doctrine of prospective overruling was propounded in IC Golaknath, state of Punjab, and held that power under Article 142 clause 1 of the Constitution of India is wide and elastic and enables this court to formulate legal doctrines to meet the ends of justice. Can they ask you that in which of the following cases it was held that 142(1) clause of the Constitution of India is wide and elastic and enables this court to formulate legal doctrines? What is the case law name? IC Golaknath. It is not Keshwanand Bharti, it is IC Golaknath. ठीक है जी. Hopefully all of this is clear to you. आगे चलते हैं. Then it says in Union Carbide Corporation Others versus Union of India and Others 1991, that is the Bhopal gas leak case. इसके ऊपर भी हमने specifically for 2023 we have to go through the Union Carbide की अभी वाली जो judgment आई है. Very very short judgment in which there was an issue of compensation. We'll do it in the next lecture. So इसकी citation हमेशा याद रखनी पड़ती है क्योंकि Union Carbide के नाम से multiple cases हैं, just like MC मेहता वाले. But Union Carbide Corporation Others versus Union of India and Others, that is known as Bhopal gas leak case. That's 1991 for SSC 584. ठीक है जी, ये याद रख लीजिएगा. No need to enter into all of this. No, perhaps no MCQs. Okay. Now I've gone through all of this. I couldn't really think as to what they can ask. So I'll now point you again to the most important provisions. All right. So as usual, so we must at this stage, as noticed in Union Carbide Corporation, draw a distinction between the constitutional power exercised by this court under Article 142 clause 1 and the inherent power of the civil court recognized by section 151 of the CPC. Now section 151 of course is absolutely dead important for any exam, judiciary, pre, CLAT, PG, whatever exam that you want to take, LLM. Section 151 remains very very important. You can pause the lecture here, you can open section 151 in CPC, alright, and just go through that section. It's a two-liner section. It runs parallel to section 482 CRPC. So it says, even though that they look similar, it is not, because section 151 says nothing in this court shall affect the power, the inherent power of the court, well, to give relief for the ends of justice. I'm not reading out the exact section, but that is what it means. 482 again basically gives very wide powers to the High Court to administer justice. Which provisions empower the civil court in civil cases? So it's referring to 151 CPC, and the High Court in criminal cases, that's 482 CRPC, to pass such orders as may be necessary to meet the ends of justice or to prevent abuse of the process of the court. All right. Pause the lecture, go through 151, go through 482 of the CRPC. Bilkul, just go through them once. All right. Then, where the CPC and CRPC are silent, the civil court or the High Court respectively can pass orders in the interest of the public. So CRPC mein, when you're reading 482, just check which all courts are enabled to have that power under section 482. Or is it only the High Court? Is it the Sessions Court? Is it what court? सिर्फ वैसे तो it is ideally speaking they are answering you यहाँ पे High Court only. However, go through 482 CRPC once. Okay. For the simple reason that no legislation is capable of contemplating all possible circumstances that may arise in the future litigation and consequently provide a procedure for them. Okay. Now it says the constitutional power referred by Article 142 of the Constitution of India on this court is not a replication of the inherent power vested with the civil court under the CPC and High Court under the CRPC. So it says it is very distinct. In fact, it is way wider than section 151 or section 482. Alright. Now it says, as in terms of the dictum enunciated by this court in Union Carbide and Supreme Court Bar Association, exercise of under Article 142(1) of the Constitution of India to do complete justice in a cause of matter is prohibited only when the exercise is to pass an order which is plainly and expressly barred by statutory provision of substantive law based on fundamental consideration of general or specific public policy. So this limitation you will have to remember. All right. So remember this limitation. Ki when can the Supreme Court not pass an order under Article 142 Clause 1? This is extremely important. An MCQ can pop up if they ask this judgment. All right. Give me 1 second. As explained in Supreme Court Bar Association, Article 142 is curative in nature. ये statement अपने notes में just put a bullet point and says 142 curative in nature. 142 is curative in nature. ये please मतलब लिख लीजिएगा. Very very important. आगे चलते हैं. Now, consider which of the following statements is true or untrue, or which of the following conclusions was made by this judgment. So, as long as complete justice required by the cause of matter is achieved without violating fundamental principles of general specific public policy, the exercise of the power and discretion under Article 142 Clause 1 is valid as per the Constitution of India. Just mark it out. So, as long as the order is not violating the fundamental principles of general and specific public policy, 142 Clause 1, the order made is absolutely valid. Now it goes into family law, that is Hindu marriage. So Hindu marriage is traditionally considered to be a sacrament or considered to be a sacred union. Great. Then we go here. Dissolution of Hindu marriage by grant of a decree of divorce on the grounds mentioned in section 13 thereof. I request you to pause this lecture right now and go to section 13 to the Hindu Marriage Act and just revise the grounds of divorce once, because of an MCQ can pop out from here. So it is very helpful if you follow my instructions and just do the work that I'm telling you. Believe you me, if all of this shows up, as in if the case shows up in CLAT PG, they are going to be asking these questions. I, by God's grace, know these examiners a little bit well. If you're watching this in the judiciary course, well then this remains. And if you're watching this, let us say in CLAT PG or LLM for courses beyond 2023, of course the lectures will be there. These are now forever legal static GK, and then section 13 तो बदलने नहीं वाला ना, तो standard साथ साथ चीजें हम revise करते चलते हैं. Okay. Section 13(1)(1)(a) was enacted by the Marriage Law Amendment Act 1976 and to provide for divorce in cases of cruelty, and section 13B of the Hindu Marriage Act was introduced for providing divorce by mutual consent. So 13B is divorce by mutual consent. ये सदा आपकी टिप्स पे होना चाहिए. This is an important section to remember. Explanation was added to section 9 of the Hindu Marriage Act, which relates to RCR, of course, restitution of conjugal rights. So where are restitution of conjugal rights given? Section 9 of the HMA. Alright, stating that where a question of whether there has been a reasonable excuse from withdrawal for society arises, the burden of proving reasonable excuse shall be on the person who has so withdrawn from the society. Don't be surprised if they ask you on whom is the burden of proof placed in the case of restitution of conjugal rights. The person who has withdrawn from the society of the other. Then it goes into this. The effect of the said amendment as noticed below partially dilutes the rigors of subsection 1A of section 23 of the HMA. Pause the lecture and check what is there in section 23 of the HMA, which stipulates that the court, while examining whether any ground for granting relief exists, should be satisfied that the petitioner is not in any way taking advantage of his or her own wrong or disability or the purpose of such relief. So section 23 enables the court to double check what the court before granting before granting relief. Okay. Now section 13B of the Hindu Marriage Act reads as under. So we are now going into 13B, divorce by mutual consent. Subject to the provision of this act, a petition for dissolution of marriage by decree of divorce may be presented to district court by both the parties to a marriage. This is a standard law entrance ka MCQ as it used to exist pehle. So under 13B, who all can present the petition? Either party, both the parties, one party. One party and either party basically within the same thing. Both the parties, where such marriage was solemnized before or after the commencement of the act on the ground. So what is the ground for mutual divorce? That they have been living separately for a period of 1 year or more. Now this becomes extremely crucial, that they have not been able to live together, that they have been mutually agreed that the marriage should be dissolved. Now think about the paper setter. Let us say that they ask any other family law ki judgment, or let us say that they ask you any other questions. By 13B to same hi rahega. So this basically makes us revise 13B. On the motion of both the parties made not earlier than 6 months after the date of the presentation of the petition and not later than 18 months after the said date. On the motion of both the parties made not earlier than 6 months after the date of the presentation of the petition. Alright. तो 1 साल बीत गया है. 1 साल के बाद आपने कोर्ट को रिक्वेस्ट करा है कि प्लीज हमें डिवोर्स बाय म्यूचुअल कंसेंट दे दो अंडर 13B of the HMA. Then there is a second motion which is presented, but it cannot be made earlier than 6 months because 6 months is your cooling off time. क्योंकि cooling off time के अंदर आपको you need to assess what you're up to. Remember, जब भी आप बहुत ज़्यादा गुस्से में अपने माता पिता से कुछ भी उल्टा सीधा बोलते थे गुस्से में, and then 15-20 minutes you're later on regretting कि यार ये मैंने क्या बोल दिया. 6 months is up to cooling off time कि भैया सोच लो, because marriage is a sacred union, because marriage is a sacrament under Hindu law, please सोच लो, थोड़ा ठंडा हो जाओ, थोड़ा शांत हो जाओ. So this is the cooling off period. But what is the upper limit of cooling off period? That is 18 months. Right? All of these are standard MCQs from 13B. Okay. Section 13B(1) of the Hindu Marriage Act states that a decree of divorce may be granted on a joint petition by the parties on the fulfillment of the following conditions. Okay. So the parties have been living separately for a period of 1 year or more. They have not been able to live together. They have mutually agreed that the marriage should be dissolved. Of course, this is just a summary of 13B(1). Subsection 2 to 13B(1) of the Hindu Marriage Act provides that after the first motion is passed, the couple parties would have to move to the court with the second motion. If the petition is not withdrawn in the meanwhile after 6 months and not later than 18 months, as I've already explained to you, no action can be taken by parties before the lapse of 6 months since the first motion. So you will have to wait. All right. Clearly, now what is the legislative intent behind subsection 2 to section 13B of the Hindu Marriage Act is that the couple party must have time to introspect, consider the decision to separate before the second motion is moved. However, there are cases of exceptional hardship where after some years of acrimonious litigation and prolonged suffering, the parties with the view to have a fresh start jointly pray to the court to dissolve the marriage and seek waiver of the need to move the second motion. कि भाई इतना टाइम निकल चुका है, अब क्या सेकंड मोशन, कौन सा कूलिंग ऑफ करें. ठीक है जी. On account of irreconcilable differences, allegations and aspersions made against each other, and in some cases multiple litigations, continuation of the marital relationship is, it is impossibility. So therefore now they are pondering on that whether courts can do away with this. And now we come to the classic case law on that. So that is Amardeep Singh versus Harveen Kaur. Now this is extremely crucial. Amardeep Singh versus Harveen Kaur. went into the question of whether the cooling off period for 6 months is mandatory or discretionary. So for even for judiciary pre, for any damn exam that you want to take, was held that the cooling off period can be waived off by the court where the proceedings have remained pending for long in the court, these being cases of exceptional situation. So in which case was it held that the cooling off period as mandated under 13b subsection 2 is Amardeep Singh versus Harveen Kaur. ये याद रखना ही रखना है for any exam that you want to take. And it is directory, it is not mandatory. All right. Then it will again, it also, acha, this question also pops up that in which of the following case laws were 6 grounds given before the cooling off period is to be waived. So well, this is it. These are the 6 grounds, and again grounds were given in Amardeep Singh versus Harveen Kaur, classic case law in family law. Alrighty, now we go aage. As I always say aage, so we'll go aage now. Alright. Exercises jurisdiction under Article 141, 142, Clause 1 of the Constitution of India is clearly permissible to do complete justice to a cause of matter. We should accept that the court can pass an order or decree which a family court, trial court or high court can pass as per Article 142(1) of the Constitution of India. A decree passed or an order made by the court is executable throughout the territory of India. Alright, power of this court under Article 136 is SLPs, pause the lecture and revise. SLPs, the special leave. Petitions reviews are given in 137. Of course, curative petition अभी आ रहा है, अशोक हुर्रा वर्सेस रूपा हुर्रा, इसी के अंदर आ जाएगा. ठीक है जी. Okay. अच्छा, इसके अंदर MCQ क्या था? Throughout the territory of India. Of course, I don't believe that I need to even say this, that Supreme Court की territorial jurisdiction. Now, in Amit Kumar versus Suman Beniwal, this is again a classic case law in family law. This court has held that the reading of subsection 1 and 2 to 13b of the envisages a total waiting period gap of 1.5 years from the date of separation for the grant of decree by divorce by mutual consent. Because एक साल से पहले आप मतलब आप एक साल से अलग रह रहे हैं तो मिनिमम टाइम एक साल हो गया और उसके बाद 6 महीने आपको मिनिमम टू मिनिमम वेट करना ही पड़ेगा. सो द टोटल इज अमित कुमार वर्सेस सुमन बेनीवाल. वैसे लॉजिक में भी था, पता नहीं ये लोग जजमेंट में क्या करते रहते हैं. हाउएवर इट इज 1.5 years. So in which of the following case laws was it well declared that the maximum period is rather I can say not maximum, a total waiting period is 1.5 years. So that is Amit Kumar versus Suman Beniwal. Okay. And 6 factors were given, of course, in Amardeep Singh. Now, it says, in our opinion, Judge Saab now says, Section 13b of the Hindu Marriage Act does not impose any fetters of the powers of the court to grant a decree of divorce by mutual consent on a joint application when the substantive conditions of the sections are fulfilled, and the court, after referring to the factors mentioned above, is convinced and of the opinion that the decree of divorce should be granted. So under 142, it is possible for the Supreme Court to give you divorce under, well, mutual consent wala 13b के तहत. ठीक है जी, okay. And yeah, it mentions section 89 of the CPC, recently amended by the Mediation Act as well. Pause the lecture and check 89 CPC. Section 23(2) of the Hindu Marriage Act and section 9 of the Family Courts Act 1984. Pause the lecture, check for these. Just go through the sections. All that I request you is to go through the sections. Nothing much more. No rote learning, no nothing. Just go through the sections. That will suffice. Now, it says, therefore, in B.S. Joshi and others was State of Haryana and another, this court, notwithstanding that the section 320 of the CRPC does not permit compounding of offence under section 498A of the IPC. Do you see the question? It says, the question will be that either, now 2 ways of asking this question, either they can give you the case law, B.S. Joshi and others was State of Haryana, that what was held, or they can ask you this, that Section 320 of the CRPC does not permit compounding of an offence under 498A. This was held in B.S. Joshi and others was State of Haryana. तो इसको अपनी case law list के अंदर आप डाल लीजिए. ठीक है जी. Okay. This view has been affirmed by 3 judges, Gyan Singh and ये रघुवंशी, बबीता रघुवंशी. But main तो ये काम है ना, तो main B.S. Joshi पे ही हम टिकेंगे. ठीक है जी. Okay. जोशी जी गए, हम आगे चलते हैं. So now this court in state of MP versus Lakshmi Narayan has set out guidelines as to when the High Court may exercise jurisdiction under the inherent powers 482 for quashing non-compoundable offences in terms of 320 CRPC. Low probability, but I thought जब पढ़ ही रहे हैं तो फिर एक बारी पढ़ ही लेते हैं. ठीक है जी. So all of these can be extracted out from this judgment and can very frankly be asked to you. All right. Now last question is 142(1) के अंदर can it grant of decree of divorce when upon the prayer of one of the spouses. Now there's a condition here. It's one of the spouses. It is satisfied there is complete and irretrievable breakdown of marriage. Now it goes back again to section 13 subsection 1 and then 1A of HMA. It says, well, divorce, any marriage solemnized. So we are going into section 13 now. You can open your bare act to there. Whether before or after commencement of this act, may on a petition presented by either the husband or the wife. This is a standard MCQ. Please check it. ठीक है जी. Either the husband or the wife be dissolved by decree of divorce on the ground that the other party, etc. So 13 के जो standard जो MCQ, it is either husband or wife. The provision often has to be read with clause A to section 23 subsection 1 of the Hindu Marriage Act. तो कृपया करके आप उसको पढ़ें, है ना जी, सेक्शन 23 को. लेकिन यहाँ पे लिखा ही हुआ है तो यहीं से पढ़ लेते हैं. Decree in proceedings and any proceedings under this act, whether defined or not, if the court is satisfied that any of the grounds for granting relief exists and the petitioner, except in cases etc., is not in any way taking advantage of his or her own wrong or disability for the purpose of such relief. 23 को रटना ही रटना है, in the sense कि हमें पता होना चाहिए कि under which section of the HMA the court has to check that the petitioner is not taking advantage of his or her own wrong. That is 23. Okay. The legal effect is this, that it has been interpreted, invokes the fault theory, an aspect which we shall subsequently examine. So, well, which theory is there, or the legal effect, section 13 subsection 1 read with 23 subsection 1 of the HMA, which effect is there? That is the fault theory. ठीक है जी. Okay, आगे चलते हैं. Classic case law NG Dastane versus Dastane on cruelty, right? On cruelty, it says the fact is said to be established if proved by preponderance of probability. So in matrimonial litigations, in which case law was it held that a fact is said to be established on preponderance of probabilities? That is NG Dastane versus S Dastane. This is also a case law on cruelty, if I'm not mistaken, right? बाकी यहाँ से कुछ करने की जरूरत नहीं है. On the meaning of cruelty as a ground for dissolution of marriage, reference was made to High Court reliance on D. Tolstoy's passage in the Law and Practice of Divorce and Matrimonial Causes. तो D. Tolstoy जी आ गए हैं. इनको मैंने मार्क करके दिया हुआ है आपकी जजमेंट में. कृपया करके बस दिमाग में रखिएगा कि D. Tolstoy अगर एग्जाम में प्रकट ना हो जाए. Therein cruelty has been defined, etc. I've just marked it. I need not read it out here. Now, D. Tolstoy's passage also cites Horton versus Horton. Now, CLAT is very fond of asking foreign case laws. So, well, you go with Horton versus Horton. इसको mark कर लेना. कहीं exam में दिख जाए तो उसको mark out भी कर देना. The court should not, I believe you can just read it. I don't think any MCQs will pop up. Just for your reading material I have given in here. Now, it says V. Bhagat versus D. Bhagat, pronounced in 1993, 18 years after in the decision NG Dastani gives a lifelike expansion to the term cruelty. In which case law was a lifelike expansion to the term cruelty given? That is V. Bhagat versus D. Bhagat. This case was between a husband. This is a classic case law. I have just highlighted the facts for you to go through once. Nothing much more. In which they are going to give you the facts and ask the judgment name. ऐसा कुछ नहीं होने वाला एग्जाम के अंदर. आगे चलते हैं जी. Ashok Hurra versus Rupa Bipin Zaveri, or Ashok Hurra versus Rupa Hurra, that is curative petition was propounded in which case law? It was in this one. Okay. Then in Naveen Kohli versus Neetu Kohli, it says a 3-judge bench of this court referred to the opinion of Lord Denning in Kaslavsky versus Kaslavsky that if the door of cruelty were opened too wide, the courts would be granting divorce for the incompatibility of temperament, but this temptation must be resisted. Alright, so ये basically क्या हो गया आपका? In which case law was Kaslavsky versus Kaslavsky referred to, and Kaslavsky versus Kaslavsky में किसका opinion? Lord Denning, and Naveen Kohli versus Neelu Kohli referred to which of the following foreign case laws? So that question will pop up from this judgment if they ask or go into the depths of this judgment. Do not worry, just 5 more minutes left and then we'll close off this lecture. In 2018, the Supreme Court of the UK in Owens versus Owens had the occasion to analyze and evaluate the fault theory as a ground for divorce, which requires one spouse to make allegations on the conduct of others, right? So, yeah, Owens versus Owens again now becomes important. Which of the following case laws the Supreme Court of the UK well had the occasion to analyze and evaluate the fault theory as a ground for divorce? That is Owens versus Owens. ठीक है जी, ये भी काम खत्म हो गया. So fault theory is कि भाई तुम्हारी fault है that this marriage will now break apart, right? And that is the effect of section 13(1) read with 23(1) एक in effect. ठीक है जी, okay. तो फिर 3 केस लॉ बेसिकली इंपॉर्टेंट हो गए. वी भगत, अशोक हुर्रा, नवीन कोहली, जो कि हमने सारे के सारे कर ही लिए. एंड fault theory can be diluted by this court to do complete justice in a particular case without breaching the self-imposed restraint applicable when the court exercises power under Article 142 as elicited in the judgments referred to above. So therefore, it can grant a divorce under Article 142 Clause 1, as in under its power to do complete justice, a divorce on the prayer of only one party. ठीक है जी. So it can dilute the fault theory, क्योंकि fault theory otherwise, क्योंकि भाई two parties in a matrimonial litigation approach the court, of course one will be blaming the other, one will be putting the other at fault, no? Okay. Then we can skip all of this. It says, having said so, we wish to clearly state that a granted divorce on the grounds of irretrievable breakdown of marriage by this court is not a matter of right, but a discretion which is to be exercised with great care and caution, keeping in mind several factors ensuring that complete justice is done to both parties. ऐਵੇਂ ही नहीं मिलेगा. ये वाला जो डिवोर्स बहुत ही देखेगा सुप्रीम कोर्ट इसके बारे में, मतलब बहुत ही अच्छा खासा इसको पढ़ेगा. ठीक है जी, ऑलराइट. And then it says the period of separation should be sufficiently long, and anything above 6 years or more will be a relevant factor, but of course applying the socio-economic background and everything else. Then one crucial aspect is that can you file, I don't see so many, there are endless case laws that they keep on referring to. I don't see anything that they can ask you from here. However, I do see this. We hold that the power to do complete justice is not fettered by the doctrine of fault and blame applicable to petitions for divorce under 13(1)(a) of the Hindu Marriage Act. So 142(1) is not fettered by the doctrine of fault. This is extremely important. Well, now it says that whether you can approach the court directly under 142 and bypass the entire trial court procedure, and can you file a writ petition under Article 32? In Poonam versus Sumit Tanwar, a two-judges bench of this court has rightly held that any such attempt must be spurned and not accepted, as the party should not be permitted to file a writ petition under Article 32 of the Constitution of India, or for that matter under Article 226 writ jurisdiction of the High Court. ठीक है जी. Now parties should not be permitted to circumvent this procedure. So, well, you are not going to 142, bypassing the entire procedure that is given to you, and you're not going for this petition under Article 32 or 226. All right. Now, Article 32 can be sought to enforce the rights conferred by Part 3 of the Constitution. Part 3 में क्या दे रखा है? Fundamental rights. All right. And yeah, so now we go to conclusion. It says the court can depart from procedure as well as the substantive law as long as the decision is exercised based on consideration of the fundamental, general, and specific public policy. Then I don't believe that we have not covered anything. We have covered almost everything that they can ask you from this judgment. The question is also answered in the affirmative, holding that the court in exercise of under Article 142 Clause 1 of the Constitution of India has the discretion to dissolve the marriage on the ground of its irretrievable breakdown. As usual, only for CLAT, एक बारी बस judgment bench देख लेंगे. That's just about it. Now, let us quickly revise this. So, case law name Shilpa Shailesh versus Varun Srinivasan. ठीक है जी. 13B and 142 के रिश्ते के ऊपर ये पूरा का पूरा case law है. You will need to revise 13B. You will need to revise 142, right? And 151. CPC 482, CRPC एक बारी ऊपर से देख लेना, सेक्शन 23 HA में Now, Bangladesh and Nepal, wala pointer, most written constitutions don't have this provision. However, they do mention to Bangladesh and Nepal's constitutions. Well, Supreme Court referred to Mohammad Siddiq versus Mahant Suresh Das, that is Ram Janmabhoomi wala case. 142.1 turns the maximum equity follows the law on its head. Alright, as this article enables the Supreme Court to go for equity before the law. Very, very important pointers. Reference was taken to IC Golaknath versus State of Punjab 1967. Doctrine of prospective overruling, who was the CJI at that time, this Subba Rao. And ये आपके गोलकनाथ के अंदर जो मेन जो डिसीजन क्या था, that no fundamental right can be amended using Article 368. That led to the amendment of Article 13 and addition of clause 4. Remember, हमने ये सारी हिस्ट्री ज्योग्राफी करी हुई है केशवानंद भारती की. Doctrine of prospective overruling was given in which case law? That is Golaknath. And well, we need not go into now 498A and 125 CRPC. Remember that reference was taken to Amardeep Singh versus Harveen Kaur, in which the cooling off period was 6 months. के अंदर ये दिखा दिया गया था. Well, that it can be waived off in exceptional cases of hardship, and 6 factors were given before waiving it off. All right, so that becomes extremely important. Then reference was taken to B.S. Joshi versus State of Haryana, in which section 320 does not permit compounding, and under 498A. However, under 482, the High Court may quash non-compoundable offence if justice so requires. Just giving you a brief outline जो अभी हम लोग जो discussion करके आए. NG Dastane versus S Dastane, and then Ashok Hurra versus Rupa Hurra curative petition वाले, है ना जी. And yeah, that's, I believe that is just about it. We'll just go to last 2 pointers. Yeah, power to do complete justice not fettered by the doctrine of fault and blame. But can you directly approach the Supreme Court under 32 or approach the High Court under 226? No, that is not the case. All right. Yeah, so that's about it from this judgment. I sincerely hope that it shows up. If it doesn't show up in 2023, I sincerely hope that it shows up in 2024, because now this is permanent legal static GK. And if you're watching this lecture, let us say in the judiciary program or anywhere else, well, all of these pointers are legal static GK. Forget that I've said anything about CLAT PG. NG Dastane versus Dastane revise ho gaya, 13 revise ho gaya, 13B revise ho gaya. So it's all good, right? All of these are standard legal questions that they keep on asking. Alright, wishing you all the very best, and take care. I see you in the next lecture. Union Carbide वाला कर लेते हैं, in which ये जो अभी जो reimbursement जो काम करी थी, then we have to do the Jallikattu case. Jallikattu, now it has been allowed. तो वो सब कर लेते हैं. And then the Mediation Act is there. Then for our prep for 2023 will be through the roof, क्योंकि बाकी jurisprudence, international law, constitutional law वगैरह हम सब कम कर चुके हैं. These are the judgments, the highest probability ones that they can ask from this year specifically. Alright, wishing you all the best. See you in further lectures. Take care. Bye.